Okay, so basically how I usually start off is I usually use a bigger bucket, but we're gonna go with a smaller one. Okay, so I just put some Dawn dish soap. The reason why we go with Dawn dish soap is because Dawn is a degreaser. It's not an actual soap. It's a degreaser. So it gets all the oils and stuff off the kit. So then I'm just filling this with hot water. Won't hurt it. Okay, so once I do that, I take the, okay, so here's your, here's, I think it's Serenity, isn't it? Sure. But anyway, we're gonna soak her and just make sure that she's really small, so she'll be easier to, she's a preemie. So she's really easy to really clean up and get all that soapy mess off of her. Since she's brand new, I'm gonna fill her head with some water like this. Fill it up. I usually use a deeper bucket, but she's a preemie, so she'll be over here. So I'm just gonna let her soak off to the side. This is Levi. Levi has already been, he wasn't fully painted, but he was, I noticed that I was very new to Ultimate Fusion, so I noticed that he was turning too red. So I tried getting that out, but it just got worse and worse. So I decided to just strip him, and so I'll be redoing him. So you will see him here, like where he's got the red. He doesn't look as red on this video as he actually is, but he's going to be redone. So since he's just been sitting for quite some while, until I had room on my table, I'm just going to wash him down, get any dust off him. But he doesn't have any oils on him because he's already been de-oiled and all that kind of stuff. So I usually, with a brand new kit, like a full kit, I'll soak them. I won't just quickly wash them like this. I'll just let them soak. But I don't need to do it in this part because the preemie is a very small kit. And I'll be doing an extra thing that only some people do. So I'm going to get a mat, and we'll do the next step. So if you have a brand new kit, especially if they're newborn or bigger, let them, oh, I forgot an arm. Let them soak for a bit, so that degreaser can really work on them. But like I said, he's already been through that process because I never fully finished him, but I did strip him. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I paint on these. I also use them for drying, for air drying stuff that I'm cleaning up. So we're gonna put that there. Now I'm just pouring this soapy water out. Okay, I'm gonna give them, let's see if I can turn this. Okay, there you go. see what I'm doing? I don't like to be on video, but... So I'm just rinsing them off. Lights on it. That's okay. It's going through another cleaning process anyway. I don't use chemicals anyway in my animals, so something in there that's gonna hurt them. Okay. So now I'm just gonna hang on to them. It's hard to get the limbs fall on me. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. Okay, let's put them there. And I'm gonna show you guys the next step. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was on Zoom. So I need one sec. So these are the gloves that I use for stripping, and I also use them for what I'm going to do now to protect my hands. It's the same thing they use in cafeterias when handling food. So, because the reason why I use the Poly-D's instead of the vinyls, the vinyls I could do this part with, but the stripper has something in it that disintegrates the, just causes them to tear and all that. So the Poly-D's, the stripper doesn't affect them at all. So I'm gonna go get the next product. Toby, bad place for you to be right now. Come on. Ow. Okay, so you can use this product. This is Vim. It's cream based. It's a cleanser. You can use this, or if they sell Jif where you live, you can use Jif. But Vim and Jif, pretty much the same thing. Make sure it is a cream one. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're just going to put some on the babies there. Alright, keep that away from animals and children. And then I'm just going to scrub it with my hands onto the kit. And what this does is it makes sure you take your finger and get in the ears and their nose and their mouth. And what this does is it makes sure there's no grease on it, but it also gives like a rough exterior to it to catch the paint when you're first starting. And it really, really makes sure that there's no greases, no oils. So make sure you get into their mouths. He has a little what there, if you know the Levi kit by Bonnie Brown. So do him. We do his limbs. Same way you do the limbs. Make sure you get right up the top here where you start your paint. Make sure you really scrub that up. Get his feet and his toes. Okay. And there's his other leg. And then his arms. Get in his fingers there. Don't worry about in between the fingers, because when you rinse them, it'll go in there anyway, and you don't want to tear the fingers. Because believe it or not, with vinyl you could. Okay, so just getting in the hand there, scrubbing that. And last we have, I'm pretty sure this is Serena, but I will, if I'm wrong, I will correct it in the description. But she is a cuddle body, so we won't be using her limbs. I will get a different authentic Preemie to do her, to go with her limbs when I see it, when I find the one that I want. Okay, so she's really nice soaked up, see? And I got in her mouth and her nose and her ears. She's a little tiny little tater. My first Preemie right there, but we're not doing her in a Preemie skin tone because that's not what the person wants. Okay, so now I don't want to touch my phone with this stuff on my hands, so bear with me for a minute. Ow. Just pinched my finger. So what you're going to do is just hold their heads and just rinse them out in the water. Okay. And then you're going to move them, after you do this, you're going to move them into a place to dry. So I usually let them dry overnight. So that's what we're going to do. But make sure you get all this stuff off. Like, do it under the tap. Don't do it like this, because there's still going to be this remaining on them. So I'm going to take these off, and I'm going to show you where I put them to dry. Okay, and then I'll come back for them. This is the bucket I normally use. It's a good sized bucket. I was able to immerse my full body silicone, who's 21 inches. I was able to put her in there. So it's, I have a chest plate in there right now. So it's a good bucket. It was from Birdseeds originally. So this is my place for any kits that I'm not currently working on. They sit here to keep them away from the dust and the hair, because it's more dusty in the other room. This is my drying rack. So this was the last one I did. Gotta move this over so I can get in here. This is not in my drying rack. That is not a Reborn. That is a Ready or Not Tot from the late 90s. It's a robotic teaching doll they used in high school. So I'm going to be painting her to make her look real. So that's why I'm pulling out now. She is authentic, but she's not a Reborn. She was made in America by the company. So I'm just going to, gotta find a place for her limbs. See, the holes are really small, so it makes it really hard for me to put her up on something. So I'll just lay her limbs down here once I get this empty. So this has been in here for a few days because I haven't been working, but that's her face. You might recognize her. And what's so great about this is her body is completely sealed. As long as I don't get water in the top there, I didn't emerge this, or in here, then she's perfectly safe to paint. But yeah, so I'm glad. There's a part that goes in the back here, but her main mechanism is inside the body. That's why I can't, you know, emerge her. So, and these are just the legs. The first time I tried her, I stripped her and I'm redoing her, is because I didn't get enough of the peach out. So you got to do a lot of blue layers, even mix some blue and white, because if you don't, the peach is going to show up through your layers and you're not going to want that. So, next, we're going to go back into this area now that I moved her. Okay, this is my laundry tub. We're in the basement, so it's not the fanciest place. So, I'm going to grab Levi first since he's bigger. And we're just going to rinse him off. I can touch it now because I'm not scrubbing it with my hand. I'm rinsing it underwater. Okay, so I'm just going to set him here. And then I'm going to grab his... I'm an OCD. I go from arms to legs. It's just... this is what I do. Okay, so I'm going to rinse his arm. Make sure I'm getting it all off. You want to do this under the tap. Because if you do it in a bucket, it's just going to sit in the water. You want to get as much of that off as possible. So those are his arms. I'm placing them on the mat that I had put out before. So these are his legs. Now I did soak him for a couple hours. The first time I did him. So he had a really good soak. You can just do an hour if you want. Some people do it overnight. It's up to you, you know. But he's already been through the process. So that's why I don't have to worry about soaking him, because he's already been through it. And like I said, she's just a little preemie, so it's not too hard to degrease her. And because I do the Vim, that makes it even easier to make sure I get all the oils off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be doing this live tomorrow. But they're going to dry overnight. And then we're going to use a 99% Isperel alcohol. And we're going to go over them just before I paint them. And once it evaporates and it's dry, then I can go right ahead and paint them. And that just gets off any possible chance of any leftover soaps or residue or whatever. You do not have to do the Vim or Jif, whatever they sell in your country. You do not have to do that. But that's what I was taught by my master artist teacher, Sue Ellen Taramina. It's just an extra cleansing, and she does it on all her dolls. So that will be it for today. I'm going to move them to the drying place that I showed you, and we'll see you tomorrow TikTok live on Precious Little Lambs.